Welcome to Deep Thought, the body and the spirit. You know, this brother I knew, haven't talked to him in a while, but he gave me something that was very profound, right? Now understand about this brother. This brother is short of stature, right? But he's a very powerful spiritual master, though, right? He can get real deep. I mean, he can blow away what I'm talking about easily. I don't have any shame in saying that dude can go extremely deep. But he's also kind of what I would call a peak human. When I say a peak human, just somebody just hitting on all cylinders, right? And like I said, he's short of stature, yet this dude can bench press 400 pounds. And he actually trains athletes. And he said something very powerful to me one day. He said, the stronger the body, the stronger the spirit can become. So think about it. This is a living example of that. This man is extremely spiritual, can get real deep into things. Like certified by this, I think he was an attorney. He's definitely a law school graduate, right? So, I mean, certified by this culture as intelligent or seen as intelligent, yet he trains elite athletes, like little high school kids and stuff. He makes them faster. He can actually make a human being even stronger and faster, right? So it's very profound when he says this. He's on this development, but he says you can't really separate the body and the spirit. The stronger the body, the stronger the spirit can become. Spirit works through the body. Body is really just a lump of clay. Because the body is how you interface with the environment. It's how you interface with Earth. So you have a lot of people, they call themselves spiritual, you know, or they'll be into like esoteric things, and then it's like they neglect their body. Or if they do bother with their body, they eat a bunch of stuff. It's like, oh, I can't eat that food, eat this food, all of that, right? And it's almost like they're not there. That's a stereotype of somebody really deep in the spirit. You know, they're not fully developed. But the more you develop your body, the more you can interact with, because once the spirit is attached to the body, you can't separate what's going on in the body with what's going on mentally. Like one of my mentors, he has said, you know, it's very important for people who are on the spiritual path to practice good dental hygiene. Because, you know, if you get a toothache or something, you're not going to be trying to meditate. And you ain't going to be the most spiritual or most giving person or trying to grow if you got a toothache, if you got a cavity or something. You know, he's right. Or any other sickness. And even on a deeper level, I always tell people when they have like a common thing is weight gain. You can trace any weight gain back to some emotional issue. You can always trace any weight gain, unhealthy weight gain. I'll put it like that. I mean, when I say weight gain, some weight gain where you don't, you know, you're not working out or you're not eating any extra. And you're even trying to lose weight, but it can't quite go. It's a spiritual thing. I mean, I've even said that in my coaching with some dudes who were trying to put on weight. I was like, hey, you need to deal with some stuff. Because one thing you get a lot of people, especially you get a lot of people, now I've talked about personality types. Sometimes you get some people, because of a difficult childhood, they're not very connected to the earth. So they'll let their bodies waste away. Like I actually know a young lady now who has constant eating disorders. You know, when that person is not connected, they'll need to be eating healthy. This is different from just being naturally slim. You know, some people are supposed to be naturally slim, but then when you have somebody with an eating disorder, they have some problems with connection. But that's still a spiritual thing. See, spirit, you can't separate spirit and body. In fact, on a deeper level, now I would have to do some type of workshop or live video to demonstrate this, but you can actually tell a lot about a person's spirit by how their body looks, where their weight is. It never fails. It never fails. I can look at where somebody's weight is. I already have a general idea, especially if they're overweight. It's harder to tell if they're at their ideal weight, but I can already tell you with their weight, their general personality. Just where their weight distribution is, with how their bodies look and everything. I can already tell their general emotional disposition, right? Like somebody looking at me, even though I tend to be quiet, I'm a big dude. It's like, boom. I'm like a bull in a china shop type of dude. But that's kind of real my personality, even though I always try to tell people I'm quiet. But that's an emotional thing. I think big, And you can see it in different ways. It's like I like one thing, and this goes somewhat to my relationship stuff. I read a lot of women by where their body weight is, and their figures and everything, and where the weight gain comes on. And then I'll say something to them. They're like, "Man, how you know I was dealing with that?" Yeah, I just looked at your body. Sometimes I can even tell someone's socioeconomic background by their bodies. Especially women. I don't, being hetero, I don't check out men like that. But women, a lot of times, and I've said that to women, I can look at a woman's body and look at it, and also how she wear her clothes and everything, and I'm like, oh, okay. This is where you from? Never fails. I could do it with 95% accuracy. All right, so there's a connection there. So anybody who's trying to do stuff to grow their consciousness, grow their spirit, need to take care of their body. One of the first things is figuring out what you can eat and not eat, right? One of the first things is figuring out what you can eat and not eat. I'm going to say that again, eat or not eat. Because here's the thing. You get a lot of people who say, you got to be spiritual, you got to be vegan. Right? You got to be vegan and everything. Right? If you eating animals, you're not spiritual. No, those are hardcore animal rights activists and people who've really embraced the vegan lifestyle. Because you've had spiritual people throughout history who are meat eaters. Like a lot of people, there's that stereotype that Native Americans as a group were very spiritual and everything. And you have some powerful shaman there. But someone would be hard pressed to show me any instance of any Native American nation that practiced veganism. In fact, you have some groups that's not in their vocabulary anyway. Or you get the Eskimos, their diet is almost entirely meat. So what that means for the individual is eating, developing their body there. They have to see what works for them. They have to see what works. Like I look at my sons, like my youngest son, very bland eater. He likes very bland food. He don't like any spicy or anything on it. Very picky eater, which is ironic since he'll have a naturally big stature, right? My oldest son, the hotter the better, except he did come across something a week or so ago, some like ultra hot buffalo wings that he couldn't deal with. I was like, yeah, we know you got a limit now, but that's him. Now some people, in general, I would say people, even if you eat meat, you need to kind of limit it in this culture, not because of the meat itself, but because there's so many chemicals and genetic modifications, and you don't know how that's going to affect you. Like if you have to eat meat, it's actually better if you can kill it fresh. That's actually the best meat. I've actually had deer meat before. That was some good stuff, but it didn't have any antibiotics or anything in it, any genetic modifications. And speaking of which, even for some people who call themselves vegan and everything, you'd be hard pressed to find any vegetables that are not genetically modified. Because even if you grow your own vegetables, there's a good chance the seeds are genetically modified. You could probably find some organic seeds, but it's tough, especially with Monsanto trying to control every single seed in the country, really the world. So, but the bottom line, that's going in a whole other direction if I start going down that path. The bottom line is people have to see what works for their body. And one of the things to see if it works for your body is how constipated you get or don't get. Like technically, I met a dude one time, right? This cat was 49 years old. I met him at a seminar. Now, when I met him, how old was I at the time? I was probably about 37 when I met him. When I met him, I thought I was looking at a 26-year-old man. Seriously, I was like, I thought I was looking at a 26 because he was clean shaven too. Turned out this dude was older than me. But he had some good points. He was a holistic eater. And one of the things he said is you're constipated if you don't eat. If you don't have a shit every time you eat something, you're constipated. So basically every time you eat something, something should be coming out in an hour or so. So one of the most important things with your body, you got to figure out what gets stuff out your system quickly. Like with me, I need spicy foods because it actually gets stuff out of my system. Also almonds, that gets stuff out of my system. Definitely dairy. Like if I want to clean my system out, like dairy's not good for a lot of people. And I'm one of them. But to me, it's a laxative. It gets stuff out of my system. So I might get some ice cream or something once every couple months just to get stuff out my system. So that's a very important thing. Not so much what you put into your system, but what comes out. Because even with the veganism thing, I've met some overweight vegans. Several. It's incredible. Because also a lot of times, a lot of vegans, they don't eat meat, but they're eating breads. So, but every single person has to see what works for their body. Also, it's very important that people exercise. A lot of people's problems, like the weight thing, very emotional, but also they just not exercising. And even if someone don't put on weight, they need to exercise. Our bodies were built to move around, our blood to circulate. People need to be doing some type of exercise, even if it's just walking every day. People need to do it. That's an important thing. For spiritual purpose, spiritual development, like I said earlier about the teeth, if you got aches and pains or your body isn't in great shape, you can't really do much. Your body is the vehicle to make things happen on this planet. I don't care how spiritual you are. If you're a writer, you still gotta be able to have the physical ability to type. If you work in physical labor, no matter what you do, you still gonna exert yourself physically. So the more you're able to do that, the more you're able to do. There's a saying that health is wealth. Well, shoot. Unless you just totally paralyzed from something, you need to be healthy in order to get things done. And I see that. I don't see any business. Personally, there might be some, but any business, anything you do, any vocation, if you want to, like your life mission, if you want to do it, you probably going to need to be in good physical shape in order to do it. You're going to need to be like, even with what I do, making podcasts, making videos, I still need to be in good shape, and that for aesthetics. Trust me, it takes some good breathing and everything to, talk, because when I make these podcasts and videos, I might make several within like a couple hours. I need to be in shape to do that. I can't be getting out of breath. You do like 5 minutes of one and get out of breath. So just working out just to do that, even though I'm just sitting here talking, I still gotta have the ability to stay with it. Because you get some people, if they talk too much, they out of shape. They out of breath. So The body is very important. Exercise is very important. Now I know with this New Year's, a lot of people say they're gonna go to the gym, but that has to be a part of your life. Now you don't have to be one of those Mr. Universes or Miss Fitnesses and all of that. You don't need all that. That's just extra. But whoever you are, no matter what, you need to have a basic level of fitness. You need to take care of your body. You need to watch what you're eating. And you can still have good foods, but you have to pay attention how it affects you. Like I said, different people got different things. Some people need to go more vegan. Some people need to maybe just eat a lot of fish or something. Some people they can put down like a whole forest of meat and they good to go. But the important thing is to see what works on you. Don't follow what somebody else says. You know your body, and one of the ways you can measure it is how much you taking a shit. If you eating stuff and you constipated constantly, well, you need to change it, or you need to add some fiber or something, or figure out what makes you go regular. Like I've said, I like buffalo wings. Right, and I've had some vegans try to get me off buffalo wings, but it's not even a buffalo wing itself. It's the spice. The spice keeps my stomach clear. Like I can eat a whole bunch, but it's the spiciness that helps me to like poop. So you see that. So one of the things with that though, just one more thing about that, really do test out, figure out what works for your body and what doesn't work, and not just on what tastes good. What works for your body, what gives you optimal health, because that's the important thing, because body and spirit are connected. The stronger the body, the stronger the spirit can become. So anyway, that's it for today. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.